If you want to trade like a rebel, you got to come to Rebelcon 2022. It's going to be in Dallas, Texas, at the fabulous Four Seasons Resort. It will be more fun and more live trading than we've ever done before. That's why it's called Rebelcon 2022. We're going to have barbecues and double the amount of live trading. The guest speakers, as soon as we announce those, this thing's going to be sold out, limited to 250 people. Sign up now for Rebelcon 2022 at the Four Seasons in Dallas, Texas.
Welcome to the Rebellion.
Good morning. I'm Pete Najarian. It is Friday. This is the take for Market Rebellion. We're pretty excited about things. We've had an unbelievable week. Going back to Wednesday, it was the Fed, it was earnings, and it was an explosive move to the upside. Yesterday, we still had a lot of lingering about the Fed, a lot of conversation, and there's, for whatever unknown reason to me, there's this argument about recession. Well, if you really want to get technical about it, yeah, we're in it. So what? Let's go. But outside of that, we've got GDP, again, 2 quarters in a row. We've got GDP dropping. If you look at what says you are in a recession, it seems like we're in it. I don't know why everybody's afraid to talk about that. But that being said, today we had earnings once again. We talked about this being the busiest week of earnings of the quarter. We've got all the big monsters out there reporting, and it's a high number as well. So when we look at this week, Wednesday, yes, that's set up. Today, or Thursday rather, the setup into today, which is pretty extraordinary. We had Apple, we have Amazon. We'll get into that in just a second. But we were off a couple hundred points early on Thursday. And we were also off about 100 points or so on the NASDAQ. Well, that completely reversed. We flipped it around. We ran up 500 points off of those lows. And the Dow actually finished the day up over 300 points. Recapturing 32,000. Not that that's any specific level, but a round number. So they got back up above 32,000. NASDAQ got back up over 12,000 as well. That flipped around pretty nicely, about 130 points to the upside on a 200-point move off of that negative start for the day. So just gives you a little bit of a background of the wild ride. And it wasn't just an up day yesterday. It was a day that started off with some pretty harsh selling that turned into an up day very rapidly. We look at the price of crude every single day. Why? Because as you look across at the commodities, we look at crude specifically because of all the implications of so many different parts of the business world. If that's being said, 97 is about where we finished yesterday. We've been in this range, it seems like, over the last week, 95 to 99. And here we are smack dab in the middle at 97. Bitcoin, steady, slow, but coming back and getting a little bit better. But right around 23,000 yesterday is where we closed. Volatility down. We were into the 22s. And oh, by the way, we got some volume coming back into what's going on in the markets as well. We were over 41 million contracts yesterday. So another solid day. We had a couple of those this week after we started the week with just horrendously low volume. So it's really interesting how fast that turned and started to kick in here in the midst of summer and earnings and everything else. Real estate, we don't talk about that very often, but that was the leader yesterday in terms of the sectors. That was up nearly 4% yesterday. Very impressive. Utilities, don't talk about that nearly as much either, but that was up about 3.5%. Then you get into your industrials, you get your materials up somewhere close to 2% or so. You look across the markets and what was really kind of flipping, technology being one of those as well. That was up about 1.5% yesterday. So what were some of the bigger movers that was influencing the market? Well, Stanley Black & Decker, we talked about it yesterday morning. We'll talk about it now. That was getting absolutely slammed. Didn't get off of that at all. That was just getting hurt all day long. Meta and Qualcomm, bad earnings, bad results. You're going to get slammed in a market like this where people are kicking around this word about recession. Then you look at US Bank. That was getting hit a little bit. Comcast. I read some interesting reasons why maybe that was down yesterday. I'm snickering for all the right reasons. Anyway, PDD, JD, the Chinese names under a little bit of pressure. We also had Lucid. We also look over at what was positive yesterday, and part of the flip You look over at the truckers, Old Dominion had a really nice day yesterday. Honeywell, Nike actually had a really nice rebound day. That was up 4% yesterday. So that was a big move. Throw in Microsoft, throw in Walmart, throw in Google, throw in Boeing, throw in Goldman Sachs. You get the idea. It was a really, really broad move that really flipped those markets, all three, the S&P as well, to the upside. So kind of a quiet start today. We're looking at the markets. We had a nice little lift early on from NASDAQ. A lot of that contributed from Amazon and Apple. But the Dow was up about 25 points. It was down about 15 points. Not a whole lot going on. The fireworks of the last couple of days, everybody's fatigued. It's not going to go anywhere, right? That's not quite right either, because all of a sudden we started sprinting to the upside. And before you know it, as people were digesting more and more about what was going on with the earnings and the implications and some of the names that might get tagged along with Apple and Amazon and those that were very impressive. Wow. All of a sudden, the Dow's well over 100 points to the upside. The NASDAQ was screaming almost nearly 200 points, 170 points to the upside as well. A lot of that going with these big monsters that are leading the way, but we've got others trailing right along with them. Crude was 98 early on in the pre-market, got over 100 just a little while ago. It's up well over 3% early on. Nat gas continue to pound the table. I'm seeing a lot more people suddenly taking note about what's been going on with nat gas. We've been talking about it here on the take for quite a while. The month of July has been an extraordinary, was a record month in terms of that spike that we had almost up towards 10. Here we are once again, but right around 8.25. So not seeing a whole lot of movement there. The 2-year at 2.9 and the 10-year at 2.7. That's about where we were yesterday as well. We have Bitcoin, by the way, again, not just 23,000 like it closed yesterday, 24,000 today, adding another 5% to the upside. Nice big move there. We got volatility trading in the 21s, call it 21, 22, but we were in the 21s today in terms of that volatility. It is a Friday. People will price in the weekend. We continue on this path. Be really interesting to see if that volatility index actually can fall below 20. It's a possibility. I'm not saying it will, but it certainly is a strong possibility. You know what else is really moving? How about energy? I talked about the price of crude, nat gas a little bit softer, but the price of crude moving up back over 100. You might not like that, but if you're an energy stockholder, you're probably pretty excited about that, because I'm looking at energy. It was up about 2.3% early on. First hour, I just took a look, 4% to the upside. Then you look at consumer discretion. That was up a little over 2% early. That's 3.5% to the upside as well. We had a big flip around with materials as well as financials. Started off about half a point or so, maybe even a little bit less than that. Those are up about 1% or so. After that, not a whole lot going on. Technology did make a nice bigger move to the upside, but that was already starting with what we were seeing. And it was Apple, it was Amazon. They came through just like they needed to deliver. They did. Google delivered. We also had that great delivery in terms of the outlook from Microsoft as well. Again, a lot of solid looks to the future, as well as what they were seeing within the quarter. And Apple really probably surprising people because of the fact that we did have those shutdowns in China, and what would be the implications of that? Well, it looks like Apple was able to navigate through it like they often do, and they're just amazing. Tim Cook doing an outstanding job. So movers, what's really driving the markets? That massive move that we're seeing out of Amazon certainly isn't hurting Chevron, Exxon. Those suckers are rolling to the upside. You've got Moderna. You've got in that beta energy space, we haven't talked about nearly as much lately because it hasn't really been very topical. But I will tell you this, Oxy, APA, I look over at Diamondback, I look at Marathon, I look at Conoco, all having a very, very impressive day once again. You also, of course, you've got Apple. I mentioned Amazon. Also Dow, you look at the Caterpillar, you look at Merck, all having a very, very nice day. What's really getting beaten, and I mean beaten, is Roku today. So that one and Intel not really in for the party today. But we've got Mohawk also not really in for it as well. We've got Meta, which really is the one of those names back in the days of FANG and all the rest of that. Meta is one of those names that has been struggling. They struggled with the earnings report, and they're still getting beat up a little bit today. The Chinese names getting beat up once again, from Baidu to JD to PDD to NetEase, all getting hammered a little bit more and more. Boeing, Procter & Gamble, you get the idea. So got two unusuals going into the weekend for you. No Rebels edge today. Sorry. At some point in time, maybe we'll pump it up to to 5 days. Right now we're doing 3. And if you haven't caught the Rebel's Edge, you're going to have to watch it. It's outstanding. Have a lot of fun with my brother John. Had a great day the other day with AJ as well. So, we've got our backup crew. We really aren't backups. Those guys are frontliners as well. But it's great. We're going to go 4 topics every single time we go on, minute and a half each. Talk about that, move on, boom. Then we got 2 unusuals, boom. That's going to go through the whole thing. And then a little bit of sports, because John and I both have a pretty interesting background in sports. And so we have a lot of fun breaking that down, like I do on Sundays with the Huddle at WCCO here locally in Minnesota, but it goes nationally streaming. So Wheaton Precious Metals, WPM. This one's daggone interesting because we just were on with AJ on the Rebel's Edge on Tuesday, and he was talking about gold has bottomed in his opinion, looking for it to make a sharp move to the upside, felt like it was oversold. And you've got silver as well. He was talking about both. Well, you get all those here. Stock was trading a little bit above 33. We had 3,600 of the September 34 calls getting bought for, call it, $1.50. Now, here's the one that stands out, because we talk about this one almost at least once a week. It comes up, at least. ChargePoint, it came up twice yesterday. But today, they came back and you know what? They said, ChargePoint, we think this stock's going to go a little bit higher. Stock's trading a little over 15. It was much lower than that not too terribly long ago, and we had buyers then. So those buyers have been right. Today, they're selling out of 90,000 of the 15 strike calls. But that's not that they're gone. They're actually buying the August 5th 16 calls. So 1 week from today, the 16 calls, 90,000 of those were being bought. Very, very interesting to see. ChargePoint, it seems like daily, you've got 20,000 blocks, 50,000 blocks, and this one, 90,000. That's a really amazing trade. So I think that's a name that we're definitely going to keep our eyes on, right? I mean, it's huge option paper. It seems like on a regular basis. We just had that vote recently. People are all talking about, we talked about the solars just the other day as well. So there's a lot of different reasons why that's a very interesting trade, and I think something to keep your eyes on as well. Folks, have a great weekend. Be healthy, be smart, make good decisions, be disciplined. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great day of trading.